In one of his enlightening visions, Enoch had the chance to witness something truly remarkable. He visited the Garden of Eden, the birthplace of humankind, and the scene of the infamous forbidden fruit incident. But what was this fruit exactly? The truth might astonish you, as many are unaware of the real essence of this age-old enigma. Before delving into this discovery, allow me to welcome you to our channel. Here, we commit ourselves to delve into the profound aspects of biblical texts, unveiling obscured truths and narratives that challenge conventional beliefs. If you find these topics intriguing, consider subscribing to our channel. We promise to keep delivering engaging and enlightening content. Today, we embark on a quest to uncover the secrets of the forbidden fruit that Eve, the first woman, allegedly ate in the Garden of Eden. Throughout history, numerous theories have been proposed. Some speculate that the fruit was an apple, while others view it as a metaphor for a sexual act. But what is the actuality? Enoch's texts provide a direct hint about the identity of this enigmatic fruit. We will delve into this hypothesis thoroughly and discuss two other theories that have gained traction over time. This video marks the start of a series, so make sure to follow us for more enthralling insights. For those less familiar with the biblical narrative of Eve and the serpent, it's essential to understand the backstory. According to the book of Genesis, Eve was the first woman created by God to be a companion for Adam. The creation story of Eve is notably poignant. God made Adam fall into a deep slumber, took one of his ribs, and crafted Eve from it, symbolizing the inception of human connection and the dawn of mankind. Meanwhile, the serpent's origins remain enigmatic. The Bible portrays the serpent as more cunning than any other animal created by God. Traditionally, many have interpreted this serpent as Lucifer in disguise, the rebellious angel who defied God. However, the Book of Enoch offers a different perspective, suggesting the serpent might have been one of the other fallen angels. While in heaven, Enoch learned from an angel that this serpent was named Gadriel. This angel disclosed that Gadriel was the one who introduced the tools of death to humanity, misled Eve, and instructed men in the arts of warfare, including the use of shields, chainmail, swords, and other implements of destruction that have been employed ever since. This information is crucial. It was Gadriel, not Lucifer, who was the principal figure in deceiving Eve. While Lucifer is still regarded as the leader of the fallen angels, this narrative clarifies that he was not directly involved in the temptation of Eve. Instead, Gadriel was the key player, assuming the guise of the serpent and leading humanity toward its initial significant divergence from divine will. Upon her creation, Eve was greeted by the sheer splendor of the Garden of Eden, an idyllic setting that seemed perfect for the first woman. To Eve, this day appeared to be just another in her existence, one where she had nearly everything she could wish for, except, perhaps, the complete autonomy she felt was missing. Adam, her partner, may not have emphasized the significance of steering clear of perilous temptations. Nevertheless, Eve was conscious of the critical directive from God. You may eat freely from every tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for on the day that you eat from it, you will certainly die. Despite this clear instruction, it wasn't long before Eve found herself enticed to break this command. According to ancient texts, Gadriel, a celestial figure who deviated from God's path, craftily approached Eve. He subtly questioned, "Did God actually say you cannot eat from any tree in the garden?" Unaware of Gadriel's true motives, Eve responded, "We may eat from the fruits of the trees in the garden, but regarding the fruit of the tree in the center of the garden, God has told us, you must not eat or touch it, or you will die." To this, Gadriel cunningly replied, "You will not surely die. God knows that the moment you eat from it, Your eyes will be opened, and you will be like gods, understanding good and evil. This dialogue holds significant weight. Gadriel, identified as one of the deceivers within Lucifer's ranks, skillfully manipulated Eve by using half-truths. He exploited the human yearning for wisdom and dominance, presenting disobedience as a route to enlightenment rather than a breach of divine command. This tactic of deception typically offers something appealing while concealing the true repercussions of the decision. The outcome is widely recognized. Eve, swayed by Gadriel's cunning words, partakes of the forbidden fruit and shares it with Adam, catalyzing humanity's downfall. This leads us to a pivotal inquiry. What exactly was this fruit that purportedly enlightened Eve and Adam to the distinctions between good and evil? The Bible remains ambiguous about the fruit's specific identity and appearance. Hence, it's pertinent to explore what the Book of Enoch reveals about this subject. For those unfamiliar, Enoch is a profoundly significant figure in the Scriptures. He is depicted as a man who walked in close communion with God, and due to his virtuous life, he did not succumb to death as ordinary humans do. Instead, he was taken directly into God's presence, a rare and potent testament to his righteousness and intimate relationship with the divine. Enoch is often portrayed as a scribe and prophet, entrusted with divine visions and revelations. His role extended to serving as an intermediary between God and the fallen angels, further solidifying his stature as a dedicated servant of God. The Book of Enoch provides a unique insight into what the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil might actually represent. After being transported through various heavenly domains, Enoch was brought to the very Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve resided before their banishment. Notably, Enoch was among the few individuals who had the chance to witness the garden post-fall, making his account one of the most direct descriptions available of the fruit of knowledge. Enoch's narratives, enriched by his divine guided tours across celestial and terrestrial realms, offer us a vivid depiction of locales barely conceived by others. He recounted, "I traveled eastward to a desolate mountain range and stumbled upon a secluded desert. Despite its isolation, this place thrived with vitality, adorned with an array of trees and vegetation. Waters descended from above, flowing copiously and giving rise to a stream that meandered northwestward. This stream fostered the creation of clouds and dew that dispersed throughout the surroundings." As Enoch continued his exploration east of these mountains, he arrived at a region fragrant with aromatic trees, which exuded the sweet scents of incense and myrrh. These trees, akin to almond trees, filled the air with a delightful fragrance that permeated the entire area. As Enoch ventured further east, he encountered a lush valley filled with water where a particularly extraordinary tree grew, its hue reminiscent of the aromatic mastic tree, enhancing the mystique of the location. Along the banks of this valley, Enoch noticed fragrant cinnamon trees, and beyond these, his journey continued eastward to additional mountain ranges. Within these mountains, he found groves populated by rare trees known as Sara and Galbanum, emitting scents unknown to most. Deep in these mountains, another peak to the far east drew his gaze. Here, aloe trees flourished, their resin-rich trunks bearing a resemblance to almond trees. The fragrance they released upon being burned was unparalleled, sweeter than any known perfume. These vivid accounts from Enoch suggest his explorations spanned various segments of the Garden of Eden, each part a testament to its breathtaking beauty and enigma. He recounts discovering vibrant life in what seemed an isolated desert, replete with diverse trees and flora. In another sector of the garden, Enoch described a water-rich area, a veritable oasis, where aromatic trees released fragrances of precious substances like incense and myrrh, painting a picture of a land rich in both beauty and sacred mystery. These revered substances, vital in ancient times, were used in religious ceremonies, symbolizing purity, divinity, and the divine presence. Enoch's narrative continued, detailing his passage through these aromatic regions. After traversing the fragrant realms, I looked northward beyond the mountains and beheld 7 mountains adorned with precious nard, fragrant trees, cinnamon, and pepper. My journey took me beyond these peaks to the farthest reaches of the east, past the Arabian Sea. I continued until I encountered an angel named Zotiel and eventually arrived at the Garden of Righteousness. There, I encountered numerous majestic trees, each emitting a delightful scent, splendid in beauty and grandeur. Among these stood the tree of wisdom, whose fruits, when eaten, bestowed immense knowledge. This tree towered like a fir, with leaves akin to those of the carob tree and fruits resembling grape clusters, magnificent to behold, and with a scent that carried far. Enoch marveled, "How magnificent is this tree, and how appealing its presence." The archangel Raphael, accompanying him, responded, "This is the tree of wisdom from which your ancestors once ate and gained insight. Their eyes were opened, and they realized their nakedness. Hence, they were expelled from the garden." Through Enoch's profound visions, he portrayed the tree of knowledge with a vividness that invites us to appreciate its grandeur and beauty, highlighting its significant role in human history. Enoch's account unfolds as he enters the Garden of Righteousness, where he encounters numerous majestic trees, each releasing a delightful fragrance. Among them stood a particularly remarkable tree, identified as the tree of wisdom. According to Enoch, consuming its fruits bestowed significant wisdom. This tree was notably tall, akin to a fir, with leaves that resembled those of the carob tree. Its fruits were uniquely beautiful, organized into clusters similar to grapes, and its fragrance permeated great distances. This vivid depiction allows us to visualize what Enoch observed: an impressive tree whose fruits, clustered like grapes, were known for their aesthetic appeal and the structured organization of their berries. The structure of grape clusters is intricate, beginning as inflorescences that eventually blossom into small berries. These berries are held together by a central stem known as a cluster, with each berry attached via a pedicel. From Enoch's description, it is suggested that the forbidden fruit might indeed have been grapes. After detailing the fruit's appearance and characteristics, the angel Raphael, who guided Enoch through his celestial travels, explained, "This is the tree of wisdom from which your forebears Adam and Eve ate. By eating its fruit, they gained wisdom. Their eyes were opened, and upon realizing their nakedness, they were expelled from the Garden of Eden." Raphael, one of the archangels who led Enoch, disclosed that the tree from which Adam and Eve partook, resulting in their removal from Eden, was the very same tree. Yet, how can we validate Enoch's account? The reality remains that, without witnessing it ourselves, absolute certainty eludes us. Nonetheless, Enoch attests to having personally observed these occurrences and shared them with us, making his account likely credible. As depicted in the Bible, specifically in the book of Genesis chapter 2, the fruit and the tree are described as visually appealing and nourishing. The scriptural narrative explains, "And out of the ground the Lord God caused every tree that is pleasing to the eye and good for eating to grow, including the tree of life at the center of the garden, along with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." Eve's reaction to the fruit further confirms its allure, as she found it appealing and worthy of consumption to gain wisdom. The Bible recounts, "And when the woman observed that the tree provided sustenance, was appealing to the eyes, and was desirable for acquiring wisdom, she took its fruit and ate it, and also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Enoch's account reinforces this notion as he highlighted the allure and delightful scent of the fruit, which permeated the entire garden. He described his experience, saying, "I entered the garden of righteousness and encountered numerous grand trees emitting a delightful aroma, magnificent and splendid in appearance. Among these was the tree of wisdom, whose fruit imparts profound wisdom. It stood tall like a fir tree, its foliage resembled that of the carob, and its fruit, clustered together, was both appealing and aromatic." The tree of knowledge consistently appears as a compelling symbol, rich with significance whether portrayed in the act of divine creation, Eve's temptation, or through Enoch's mystical experiences. It represents the allure and might of knowledge, but also underscores the repercussions of pursuing insight that might deviate from divine intent. You might wonder why many people associate the forbidden fruit with an apple. This association actually stems from a multifaceted mix of historical, linguistic, and cultural influences. Intriguingly, the Bible never specifically identifies the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil as an apple. It merely refers to it as the fruit of the tree of knowledge. So, how did the apple come to symbolize original sin? A key element in this connection is the use of the Latin language. The Latin term for apple, malum, coincidentally shares its spelling with the word for evil or sin, also malum. This linguistic overlap likely shaped early Christian thought, linking the apple to the original sin of Adam and Eve. As Christianity spread across Europe, this link was further emphasized through cultural expressions and the arts. During the Renaissance, artists often depicted the story of the fall more vividly. The apple, a familiar and recognizable fruit, frequently appeared as the forbidden fruit in these artistic interpretations. A notable instance is Michelangelo's depiction in the Sistine Chapel, where the apple is prominently featured as the fruit from the tree of knowledge. Such artistic depictions had a lasting impact on popular culture, reinforcing the notion that the forbidden fruit was an apple. In European societies, the apple emerged as a frequent emblem of temptation and sin, evident in various literary and iconographic works. This emblematic representation strengthened the tie between the apple and the forbidden fruit, particularly as Christianity became more entrenched in European traditions. The King James Bible, a pivotal translation, leaves the specific type of fruit unspecified, allowing the public's imagination, nourished by the arts and literature, to maintain the association of the apple with original sin. This interpretation profoundly influenced English-speaking cultures, cementing the apple's role as the forbidden fruit in the collective consciousness. Today, the idea of the apple as the forbidden fruit continues to be perpetuated through literature, film, and various media, embedding it firmly in the cultural consciousness as a symbol of temptation. However, it's important to note that this association is more a product of cultural and artistic interpretation rather than a specific biblical or textual evidence. In reality, the scriptures do not explicitly identify the forbidden fruit as an apple. Despite this, the notion remains prevalent in popular culture. Interestingly, while the Bible does not claim the forbidden fruit was a grape, grapes are significant within the scriptures, often representing fertility, prosperity, and divine blessing. They are mentioned in several biblical stories as symbols of abundance and God's favor. A particularly vivid illustration of this is found in the account of Moses' spies, who ventured into Canaan and returned with a cluster of grapes so large that 2 men had to carry it on a pole, as described in Numbers 13:23. This moment underscored the immense fertility of the Promised Land and symbolized the bountiful future and blessings God had promised the Israelites. In this context, grapes symbolize not only the land's wealth, but also the anticipation of a flourishing and blessed existence. In the New Testament, the metaphor of a vineyard and grapes serves to impart significant spiritual teachings. In John 15:1-8, Jesus describes himself as the true vine, with his Father as the gardener. He explains that branches not producing fruit are removed, while fruitful ones are pruned to enhance their yield. This imagery of the vine and grapes represents the close relationship between Jesus and his followers, highlighting the necessity of staying spiritually connected to him to bear spiritual fruits. The metaphor emphasizes the critical role of reliance on Jesus for spiritual life and productivity. Furthermore, grapes are used to depict themes of judgment and divine wrath in the Book of Revelation. Specifically, in chapter 14, 18-20, the earth's harvest is likened to a grape harvest, where the grapes are crushed in the winepress of God's wrath. This stark imagery conveys the idea of final judgment and the dire consequences of sin. Throughout the Bible, grapes symbolize a range of profound themes, from blessing and prosperity to judgment and divine retribution, reflecting the complex relationship between God and his people. While the scriptures do not explicitly identify the forbidden fruit as a grape, the frequent biblical references to grapes align well with their thematic significance, offering a plausible interpretation for the fruit of knowledge or the fruit of good and evil. Now, if you're intrigued by the potential for different interpretations, consider this. Some scholars propose that the fruit might symbolize concepts as diverse as sexuality or the power of speech. If these perspectives interest you, please leave a comment below, and we can delve into more intriguing theories together. Moreover, if you have your own ideas about what the Tree of Knowledge might represent, we'd be eager to hear them. Share your thoughts in the comments section. We value your input. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.